This is Math 6, Lesson 1-4, Order of Operations. An expression is a mathematical phrase that contains numbers and operation symbols. It normally does not contain an equal sign. That's what causes it to be an expression versus an equation. So something along the lines of 12 plus 6 minus 2 times 8 divided by 4 is considered to be an expression. Here we have the expression 12 divided by 3 minus 1 times 2 plus 1. In mathematics, if I ask the average person to do this problem, I might come up with 4 or 5 different answers. Unfortunately, only one answer is correct. You have to follow the proper order of operations to get the proper answer for this problem. If I was to do this problem appropriately and correctly, I would say 12 divided by 3 is 4 minus 1 times 2 plus 1. 1 times 2 is 2, so I have 4 minus 2 plus 1. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. The correct answer to this problem is 3. And you get that answer by following the appropriate order of operations. I'm going to talk to you today about how important the proper order of operations is and what is the order of operations. In order for mathematics to be understood universally, mathematics follows a specific order of operations. The more complicated the problem, the more important it is to follow the proper order of operations. An easy way to remember the order of operations is to remember the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." P, please, stands for parentheses, otherwise known as grouping symbols. They are the little brackets and the bars and the parentheses that you may see. Sometimes they are called braces, brackets, and bars. A fraction bar is also considered to be a grouping symbol. E stands for exponents. That's things like 2 to the third, 5 to the second, etc. Those are exponents. M stands for multiplication. And multiplication is done in order from left to right, because we read from left to right. D is division, again in order from left to right. This means these two particular properties, multiplication and division, do not necessarily have to come in that order. It's not always multiply before you divide. It's do multiplication and or division, whichever one comes first as you read from left to right. That means these depends upon which one comes first. I get so many people who tell me you have to multiply before you divide. No, it depends upon which one comes first. If a division part comes first, you will do that before you multiply. Then again, addition and subtraction, the same thing happens. In addition and subtraction, you also do those from left to right, whichever one comes first. Just like multiplication division, if subtraction comes before addition, you'll do subtraction before you will do addition. Also depends on which one comes first. We always read from left to right, so we should make sure we do the order of operations also from left to right when it comes to addition and subtraction and multiplication and division. And I again emphasize that right here. It says, please note, multiplication does not necessarily come before division, nor addition before subtraction. You simply do either multiplication or division before addition and subtractions in order from left to right. Let's look at some problems. Now, in order to show what you are doing, it's very good to show your problems vertically, not horizontally, not across the page, down the page. When you get into higher level mathematics such as algebra, solving equations must be done down the page. Across the page gets messy, it gets complicated, and you make very many errors. So if you start learning to do things down the page now, it'll be easier when you get into more complicated math problems. So let's take a look at this problem. 34 plus 5 times 2 minus 17. If we follow the order of operations, there are no parentheses. There are no exponents. So please is done, excuse is done. multiplication and division. So we're going to go through the problem and do any multiplication or division, whichever one comes first, through this problem. And as I go along, I see that 5 times 2 is my only multiplication, so I'm going to do 34 plus 5 times 2 is 10 minus 17. Notice, this told me this is what I did first, and I wrote the rest of the problem down so I didn't lose my steps. Please don't try to do things in your head. I can't crawl inside of your head and figure out what you're doing. I need to see it on paper, so please show me all your steps. Now if I look at this problem, it's all addition and subtraction, so I'm just going to do it from left to right. 34 plus 10 is 44. 44 minus 17 is 27. And I am done. Box or circle your final answer so people know you are finished. Work is done neatly, it's done down the page, it's easy to follow. Let's take a look at number 2. 6 plus 18 in parentheses divided by 3 times 2. So, parentheses, yes, we have some, so we need to do 18 plus 6 first. 18 plus 6 is 24. So I'm going to do that first, divided by 3 times 2. Now, most students would be inclined to say, oh, 3 times 2 is 6, I'm going to do 24 divided by 6. No, that would be incorrect. If we read from left to right, this division comes before this multiplication. So I need to do 24 divided by 3 first, and get that to be 8, and then multiply that by 2 to get 16. It's very important that we follow our order of operations. Multiplication and or division, whichever comes first as I'm reading left to right. Let's take a look at the third problem. 20 minus 5 times 8 divided by 2. There are no parentheses, there are no exponents, so I need to do multiplication and or division, whichever comes first from left to right. Since the 20 is not having anything done to it, I'm going to keep it. The subtraction sign is there. 5 times 8 is 40, so I'm going to write that down, divided by 2. Now if I look at my problem, I have 20 minus 40 divided by 2. The first thing I have to do is my 40 divided by 2. So I'm going to keep my 20, keep my subtraction symbol. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. My answer here is 0. Neat, tidy, easy to follow. Number 4. 350 divided by 8 times 50 minus 2 times 350. So if we read from left to right, the first thing I have to do is 350 divided by 8. Oh, this should be an addition symbol. Sorry about that. This is an addition symbol, not a division symbol. Therefore, we're not going to do that first. Okay, so it's 350 plus 8 times 50 minus 2 times 350. So in this particular problem, I'm going to keep my 350. Oops. Keep my plus 8. Oops, not keep my plus 8, because I have to multiply my 8 times 50. Okay. 8 times 5 is 40. Add a 0, you get 400. Minus, and I can do this at the same time, because it's another multiplication problem. 2 times 350, 35 times 2 is 70. Add a 0, it's 700. So now I have 350 plus 400 minus 700. If you have to do your multiplication off to the side, be my guest and do it neatly off to the side. I could have done here 350 times 2. Not there, just like that. Neatly off to the side is perfectly fine if you're not really good with multiplying mentally in your head. Now if I look at this, I'm going to do addition and subtraction from left to right. So 350 plus 400 is 750. Subtract 700. My final answer then is 50. Let's take a look at an application. Using expressions to solve problems. You are paid $7 per hour to rake leaves. Your brother is paid $5 per hour. You worked 4 hours and your brother worked 3 hours. How much did the two of you earn together? Okay. So, thinking of this logically, your earnings plus brother's earnings will equal your total. And that's what it's asking you to find. How much did you earn altogether? Okay. You are paid $7 an hour, and you worked for 4 hours. Your brother is paid $5 an hour, and he worked for 3 hours. Okay, so your earnings will be the amount of money you get paid times the number of hours you worked, excuse me. Your brother's earnings are the amount of money he gets paid per hour times the number of hours he worked, and your total earnings will be adding those together. So order of operations says I need to do 7 times 4, which is 28, 5 times 3, which is 15. So now I need 28 plus 15. 28 and 15 is 43. You both earned together $43. Since this happens to be a word problem, we need to write it in a complete sentence, making sure we label everything. So what did you earn together? You earned $43 together. And this is how do you use the order of operations.